Do you know how many women out there do not experience
80,
orgasm?
80.
80%. Okay, so you know.
Think about this. 6, 7 years ago, I came to you and said, "Hi, would you like to talk about women's intimate health and sexual health and how we're dry down there and how we go through menopause?" You'd be like, "Get out of my."
It's true.
First of all, just the Kegel alone, not peeing in your pants, is improves every day because you don't realize how it's on your brain. Like, what should I wear? What should I wear a pad? Who am I going? How hot is it? Can they see a pad? I was one of those too. I mean, every woman has faked orgasm.
Right.
I can probably say that very strongly.
It's true.
Up until not last year, the year before, the year before that, I was trying to open a place. They didn't want a women's health center.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
because we talked about down there. I remember, do you remember the first time going to a gynecologist?
Yes, and it was a man. And it was the most awkward thing. And he wasn't young either, right? He was like an older dude. Welcome, Cindy, to the Wellness and Growth Journeys, the podcast where empowerment meets health and every conversation sparks a step towards your best self. I am Mialisa Garnes, your host and the founder of Wellness and Growth Agency. Now, each episode, we do a deep dive with health experts and wellness warriors who bring both heart and science to their crafts, helping you to navigate the challenges of midlife with wisdom and vitality. In our virtual studio today, we have Cindy Barshop.
Bar in the shop.
Barshop. Yes, we have Cindy Barshop. Cindy, just tell us now before we get into the question and stuff. Tell us in your own words who you are and what you bring to the table, what you bring to the discussion today, and then we're going to get into the questions. But I want to hear from you. Where you are in your journey. What is representing, because I've seen a lot of bios and everything online, but I want you to, say who you are right now, where you at.
Well, where I am right now, or where I was, but right now, I'm on Fifth Avenue, New York City, but I'm really propelling the women's health issues when it comes to their intimate health. There's so many things that have been overlooked and not addressed and technically not looked at from the government, from the states. And right now, I guess in the past 7 years, we're starting to see some momentum in women's intimate health. I mean,
Right.
it's just one part of, you look at a podcast like this, there's so much about women's health. That's, the inequalities, the, unpublished studies, things like that. But we just keep it, I understand there's bigger pictures of life right now, but it's about your intimate and everyday well-being and feeling good about yourself. That's what we do, really.
Yeah. Well, that's great. That's great. And that's why I reached out to you as well, because you've been at the forefront of redefining women's healthcare for over 2 decades now. Can you share what initially inspired you to enter this field and to launch one of your companies, Completely Bare?
Wow, I did start a long time ago. So I used to work for IBM. And that's all cool stuff. Vagina Spa, IBM. Anyway, and I loved what I was doing. I was in sales, but at that time, a new technology came out for women's health, but it was really for the laser hair removal when it first came out. So people with really dark, coarse hair, it's very difficult for us to wax, and it's unsightly, and it's not the shaving. So it's a lot of things also on the face. And I was one of those people that couldn't go to the beach or anything.
Right.
So when I heard about the new technology, I went, I saw it, and that was it. I realized how many women are negatively affected by ingrown hairs. I know that sounds ridiculous, or hair growth on the face.
It doesn't.
Yeah, for myself, it affected when I was younger, it affected who I dated, it affected me going to the beach. So it was a lot. And when I heard about the technology, I tested it. I was like, okay, this is great. Let's go to Madison Avenue and open up a spa called Completely Bare. I don't know how I did that, but that's how it started.
Oh, nice. I do that's business, right? You see a problem and you just come up with a solution to fix the problem.
But now what we're doing is just astronomical, the problems. I didn't even know that this, what we're doing at the VSpot affects pretty much every woman at some point of their life, but some more intensely than others.
Yes. And there's this kind of, I don't know, unspoken kind of reality that women believe that they need to just deal with this stuff. You know what I mean? As opposed to actually actively seeking help. And like there's a professional out there that can help you with something that you might think is a small issue. I did go to school with this girl. She had hairs that would grow up on her face and stuff, and it really negatively impacted her self esteem
Mm-hmm.
as a young lady, right? I mean, she didn't even have a chance to like, like date boys and that kind of thing. Like it just hit her when when we were teenagers. So we have here like a secondary school. So I think maybe we were like 13, 14, and then she had to deal with stuff like that. And she had a whole routine of like having to pluck and shave and wax and that kind of thing. And she had to deal with that stuff.
It really affects your everyday life. It really does. We actually even opened, I remember sometimes, we have many locations across the country, but the one, that I was at most was obviously the ones in the city. But I remember we would have to open up early because before, so we could do the treatment before she went to work because she was so embarrassed.
Right, right.
And I get it. I get it. I totally get it. And it's great. This is like just totally empowers women, took away a lot of the shame and things like that. So
Was it the technology then that inspired you to open VSpot? Was it like, okay, I could do so much more. There's a lot of great tech here. Let me open another business. Like what to, help us bridge the gap between you two.
the laser hair removal was so long ago, 20 years ago, right? I'm embarrassed. But so we were like one of the first. There was one person before us, but we're the first that created what you call as a Medi spa. So we're like the first Medi spa because of the medical.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It was so long ago. So we were definitely one of the first, but uh, it grew into, I don't remember exactly how many locations it was nationally, but then everybody got into it. So we kind
A
of
lot
like,
of people.
yeah, so it wasn't, which is fine. I mean, the prices go down, everybody can afford it. That's kind of women's health technology.
Yes, and then women get access, more women get access to it. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Well, that's good. How does I guess VSpot differ from Completely Beer in its mission and services?
VSpot started about 7 years ago, 6 years ago. And interesting enough, the market was not ready for, and it's still just not even there yet. Just for women to start, think about this. 6, 7 years ago, I came to you and said, "Hi, would you like to talk about women's intimate health and sexual health and how we're dry down there and how we go through menopause?" You'd be like, "Get out of my."
It's true.
I have to say, I've been in it from the very beginning, and it's just now starting to come around. Just now.
Yes.
People are living through all these problems, and we can go into them a little bit, and so we can tell people what there are solutions now, which there weren't before. But people are living with all these different problems. But if they research that there's some alternative, that's great. But then also, none of the media wrote about this stuff. So there's a whole. I mean, I've been doing this for so long.
Yeah. Yeah.
At least we're at the forefront now. We're at the forefront. People are understanding there's new options out there. People want to get the word out. They want to try different treatments. It's slow, but it's out there.
Yes. Yeah. And really, this is another reason why this podcast exists. So women know that there are options. Like you don't have to just deal with this stuff, right? You don't just have to like take it. You can actually do stuff actively.
Yeah, I mean, 30 million, I think it is, women suffer with urinary leakage. Vaginal atrophy is basically pretty much every woman lives with that. That becomes dryness through menopause or perimenopause or looseness. These are simple, it sounds like a big deal, the treatments, because in the past it was like surgery. We don't need surgery anymore. There's simple treatment options now that work. That's the big difference. When you talk about women's health,
Yes, true.
you have treatment options that work, are proven and work, versus this treatment options.
Yes, yes, that is true. That is true. Because we definitely want solutions. We don't want nothing that, I don't know, maybe put a little plaster on it and then you gotta come back. But we want solutions.
We want solutions that work.
Yes,
I mean,
yes.
could you imagine that I don't know, not maybe it's too strong, but 1 out of 4 people have urinary leakage. So think about stats on that and the level. And the doctors, what they tell you is to go for surgery. And surgery doesn't. Are you familiar with the surgery for that?
No, I didn't even know there was surgery. Because I'm in a mom's group, and when we talk about like incontinence and stuff, especially after giving birth, right? The women say stuff like they wear like pads or the adult diapers.
Adult diapers. Do you know there's supposed to be there's a thing out, I think within the next 2 years more adult diapers will be sold than baby diapers.
Wow.
But here's the good news. This is, let me tell you, just so your team knows, and this is in a lot of parts of women's health right now. So we're lucky that things are breaking through. So urinary leakage, we know it's very a high problem for most women. And as you get older, it gets worse. So as you get older, it gets worse. So they tell you to Kegel, the chair to Kegel, to do this Kegel. Kegels don't work. Pelvic floor therapy, I've never heard anybody graduate from pelvic floor therapy saying, oh, I don't need my pants anymore. The stuff that we do, and then there's the surgery, which is sling surgery, which is very dangerous and doesn't always work either. I mean, you could look it up. I don't know the stats on it, but it could be like, I don't know, 35% fail, the other 10% it's
Wow.
yeah, no, it's not little. Anyway, we have, and this covers all the different problems. We have like a chair you sit on that's FDA approved for urinary leakage.
This is the Emsella chair you're speaking of?
That's the Stella chair.
Yeah. And I mean, the fact that you can just go sit down on a chair, walk with a book, I think it's like maybe 6 or so treatments.
It's 6 treatments. Each treatment's 30 minutes. And that allows you to set up to start exercising. So think about like it's 69 hours of exercise doing Kegels is equal to 1 treatment of the 30-minute Kegel chair. Isn't that crazy?
I know, right? Yay to technology. Saving us hours on Kegels. But yes, I have heard that. And I have heard a lot of people toting the Kegels and the pelvic floor work and that kind of thing. And I definitely say, hey, look, you got to do your research, but like there are options out there and there's technology out there that can help. Just try it. And I know people might be women especially might be a little like, it's a machine. I don't know. So maybe like, does it have side effects or is it bad? Like, I have to do my research some more. I'd rather do something natural. There are some women out there like that.
This is natural. You are completely dressed. I have them right behind me. I have 2 chairs in here so people could talk to each other. You're fully dressed. You're fully dressed. I have to tell you something, being in the health business stuff, it's not like, has it work? Can it work? It works.
Right.
So some people have more, they're older or things like that. So we have things that you can take care of, the tissue inside and the chair. My point being, there's solutions now, which there never was before.
Yes.
You have to go to a place where it has not just the chair, because it's all connected, the women's stuff. It's really, so you really just need to get everything healthy. And they're simple, easy treatments.
Yeah, it sounds simple and easy to me. That's the truth. So VSpot, it's revolutionized sexual health and wellness, and it focuses on empowering women through innovative health solutions. Could you discuss a breakthrough treatment? I know we spoke about the Emsella chair, but our service that you feel has significantly empowered your clients? Are there any other services or treatments that you're like, hey, look, women, we need to get on this. This is gonna significantly improve your life?
Well, first of all, just the Kegel alone, not peeing in your pants, is significantly improves every day of life because you don't realize how it's on your brain. Like, what should I wear? Should I wear a pad? Who am I going? How hot is it? Can they see a pad?
I can't laugh too hard. You know what I mean? I gotta hold that in.
You don't drink all day, so you don't water in the thing. So the other thing that we have, which was one of the first things, which is just so amazing. It's called the Femilift, which is a CO2 laser that goes inside the vaginal canal. So when people are perimenopause, like they'll say I'm loose, or they'll say I'm dry, or it hurts. That's where I first heard. I never knew what painful sex, like where it came from before I was in this business. Now I know it's after you get to a certain age, it gets very thin, the walls, and sex is painful and you don't want it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I would say that, I mean, that and the MSL chair, pretty much the main players in this game to start. And then we have the stuff for your orgasms and
I saw that and I was like, yes, please. Do you know how many women out there do
80%.
not experience orgasms? 80%. Okay, so you know.
Yeah, I'm like,
And and
it's,
and and we just kind of cope and we just kind of like, I don't know, I guess find alternatives to get, to get our pleasure on. But there
suffering in silence with a lot of different things because of the inequalities in technology research. So here we're talking about two major things that just kind of came out in the past 5, 7 years.
right, right.
Think about that. That is just unbelievable. And every woman experiences negatively.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just hate to say this. It's not a woman's world when it comes to the health, although things are changing. It's kind of sad. We do everything that's pretty much affects a woman's everyday life that's been checked and proven to work, FDA approved, and usually it's a combination of a couple of things that gives you the utmost results.
Yeah. Yeah.
We even then have the menopause or the biopsy. We do the pellets. We do everything. So it depends on where you are, but it just makes you feel good again.
Yes, yes, yes. I agree with that. And I find too, well, because you're a mom, I find too, after you, I don't know how it is. I'm sure that it's that way in the States, in the US. But like when you're pregnant, when you get pregnant, I feel like you get elevated sense of healthcare, right? You have appointments like every month and then they start to increase and they're checking all the vitals and making sure you're good and everything. Like the attention that I got when I was pregnant. And then they told me that I was it now? Geriatric pregnancy. I was in geriatric pregnancy. So I had to be extra, like there was extra tests and everything to make sure that baby was going to be healthy, right? And so the amount of attention and medical help and that you get when you're pregnant, the journey compared to after the baby pops out and maybe like the 6 week checkup, to make sure everything is good there. It was such a drastic thing for me.
Yeah, it's like, bye bye, you're good. Well, no, the baby's healthy. Everything's good. Well, I don't feel good. I'm unhappy. I'm stressed. I'm this. There's a lot of mental and physical. I'm peeing in my pants. I don't want to have sex. No, you'll be fine.
Yeah, you'll get over it. You just need to cope or whatever. But you'll deal with it. I had a lot of I guess postpartum anxiety, right? And I remember sharing it with my OBGYN and she was just like, "Oh, you're tired enough." She just said that to me. She was like, "Oh, you're tired enough. If you're tired enough, you would just get to sleep and baby will be okay." I'm like, are you kidding me? I stay up thinking about was it a crib death and the baby got sleep on the back and and I got my hand on his stomach to make sure he breathing, all this kind of thing. Like there's so many things that just plummet you like you just attacked with emotionally and physically and mentally, especially after you give birth. And I know other women would have other stories who have not had children or anything, but that was a big um bulb for me. Like really, like no support, like yeah, suffering with incontinence and for like a year or
I
so.
didn't even know my breast would be. I was so naive that I was like, "Wow, what's happening?" Like nobody even mentioned it.
Yes,
I
yes.
was like, I remember thinking, "Thank God I had a nanny," and I was lucky enough to have a nanny, and like, oh no, I'm like, what? What the hell is?
So there's so many things that we go through, and then I know every experience is different for every woman. But like, there's so many things that we have to go through in life, especially when it comes to perimenopause and menopause, and that's a whole nother story, right? That if there are things out there that just makes life a little bit easier,
Yeah,
let's
that's
just
what we
do it.
need.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is one less thing to worry about when we get up on a morning. You know, we don't have to be nervous when it's time to, sexy time, and dread it, right?
and you should enjoy it just as much, and they know you'll feel the difference yourself.
Right.
Yeah, we have to. I fake my orgasm.
Yes.
I mean, I was one of those too. I mean, every woman has faked orgasm. I can probably say that very strongly.
Yeah. 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 It's true because I don't know if we think, well, first of all, we probably like, all right, this is enough. But then also, um, I don't know if there's a
I
shame.
know we're in a different stage, but I'm just saying for the younger people, I mean,
But there's also this shame too because we can't get there. Like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with my body that we can't? I can't. This is supposed to happen, and then we keep that to ourselves because we think we're the only ones that's going through that. But then no, we're having conversations. We're like, oh, really? That happens with you too? So nothing is wrong with me, individually. But it's a thing that happens, and therefore, because it's a thing that happens, it kind of takes the pressure down a little bit, and then you could seek remedies and help, so that it's better, and if you want to, of course, there's
right,
nobody in pressuring you. We like, just letting you know there are options and there are alternatives out there. You don't have to suffer in silence, right? Okay, so considering your unique services, right, that VSpot offers, could you describe your typical client? Like, who usually seeks out your services, and what specific needs are they looking to address? So, who is your who comes and so like, hey, look, like age. I know women for sure, but like age, is it like perimenopausal women, menopausal women? Is it across the board? Like, who comes?
so it's very much across the board, but obviously the majority of women who have had kids. We have also have women who haven't had kids, and a lot of the bodily changes you go through anyway. The urinary leakage. It's not just because you had kids. It's really not, or the slowing down of the orgasm, or dryness, or things like that. But I would say probably 30 to 60. I mean, and that's really of the truth of it. And we do a lot of different treatments, but all of them are like kind of, even to the point of like women after they have a baby, their breast sags. We do a special treatment with PRP, non-surgical, that lifts it and it looks great. There's a lot out there for women to kind of go and see, and to take care of themselves now.
Yeah. And since you mentioned that, does it work on all size boobs? Because I got some huge beginjas. I got some huge.
So, and that's really important. You have to come in for a consultation, and it's very interesting though. In the beginning, we only said, size A or B, but a lot of women came in who are different sizes, and they're like, I want to be closer over here. I just want it to be a little bit higher. They understand it's not a breast lift.
Right.
That little attention to that brings it up or fluffs a certain area. They're thrilled.
Yeah, that's all they need.
Yeah, and yeah, you could get it more intense and things like that, but honestly, it's becoming one of our biggest treatments besides, just the vaginal. That's how it really is.
Everything non-invasive is good for me. Like, oh, you said non-invasive? Okay, I'll be over.
Yeah, no, I mean it's true. I mean it's a needle, but there's no downtime.
You're not slicing me. You're not like what is changing the location of my areola, sorry, so that because I've seen the breast augmentation surgeries, right? And I even watch the because you got the mummy makeover and all that's like a huge thing, and I watch a couple of ladies on YouTube who had gone in, and like I was like, really, ladies, we putting ourselves through this? Like this lady, she said she couldn't have feeling.
Sorry, they were intense. They were intense. I thought they were too it. I mean, but some people wanted it that, but those were intense. That was a year ago.
I was like, really? Like you get the breast done and you get the waist and you get the butt done, you get so it's a whole makeover thing. Because like you say, after you have kids, right? Breasts start to sag and then like you got like little belly fat down there that never goes away no matter how much you diet and exercise. Um and then like you look around and the butt isn't as juicy as it used to be or as you want. So then you hear about this thing and then you see the results. So you're like, yes, this is what I want. And then like I was going through the journey with this one lady on YouTube, and she said she didn't have feeling in like her nipples for like a long time. And then she said the feeling came back gradually. And she said she was in the store and there was AC and it was really cold. And then the feeling came back on the nipples and it just felt really painful. And I was like, oh my gosh. So, I mean, yes, it depends on who you are and if you have that kind of tolerance and if you want to go through that, knowing that the results, yes, will look good. But yes, recovery varies for different people.
Right. And that's the point. It's like how it affects your everyday life, your self-esteem, and your confidence, and what makes you feel good. And that's the whole thing. Like outside of the VSpot offices, it all says like, I did it for me. And really, I would say not every woman, but 90% of the women really are doing it for themselves now. We are at a different stage of, women's health and our power and our strength and our talking and everything. So we've come a very long way. And
Yes, yes, agreed. Agreed. I don't know if you had a chance to watch the first podcast that I did, but I was telling Dr. Corona there that in even when I was younger, you can even talk about your menstrual cycle. You can talk about it. You couldn't.
but still, I have to say that's still kind of it. My daughter, it's fine. It's not a big deal, but it is in school still. Like I still see it. Yeah.
It's true, but at least we're a little bit more.
Well, the parents are
Yes, true. And because we came from that generation where you couldn't talk about it, everything was hush hush, and even these symptoms that you get from it, like what was your issue? You need to chill. You know what I mean? Um, so because we come from that generation, then no, we want to make a change. We're like, yes, let's talk about it. You feeling like tired or and I know there are probably like foods and different things you could do to make you feel better, especially on that first and second day. But no, we acknowledge it and we know, okay, your mood is a little off because, it's that time of month. And like just really just embracing it now. And just like dealing with it, like, okay,
right and talking about it. Think of when we couldn't talk about it. I mean, even truly, I mean, I'm talking 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I was like looking for places. Nobody wanted the name V Spot on the door. I mean, I'm saying even in the Hamptons, up until not last year, the year before I was trying, or the year before that, I was trying to open a place. They didn't want a women's health center.
whoa.
Yeah, because we talked about down there. I mean, the reason why I have this location too. I really believe is because a woman owns the building in New York City. It's not that simple. There's still those. I literally called like owners of buildings in the Hamptons to say what the hell's going on.
Seriously? No, that was disappointing to hear.
It's still there. It's still there, but I'm just saying it's getting better.
Yeah, yeah. From the time I saw, I my husband would tell you, from the time I saw V Spot, I was like, babe, they got a place called V Spot. That's so cool. And they deal with literally vagina. We just deal with vagina stuff. I was like, yes, yes, this is what I like. This is what I like to see. This is what I like to read up on. Like, hey, if that's how this is your specialty, this we specialize in it, love that.
Yeah, I mean, it really, really, it changes your life. It really does. It really makes women happy and feel confident. And my funny thing is, I always say, you're gonna send me a note. You're gonna send me a gift. I know you are. Like, because it's very rare to go in and get something, the treatment that, let's say, the dryness and painful sex, which is really difficult. which majority of women have at some point in their life,
Yes.
go in and you're like, it's just not, I'm just not into sex anymore. I'm not, well, first of all, there's no blood flow there. And then you do it for the husband and it's painful, or the boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever it is that you're doing it for, and you're not doing it for yourself. So it's difficult, but I think we're much stronger now, women, and we're talking about it.
Yes, yes. And I do hope that, podcasts like these empower women to speak out about things that they're going through, whether they think it is small, whether they think that they're the only ones that are going through it, which is a lie that you're telling yourself, right? But hopefully, once we have conversations, continue to have conversations like these, then that empowers women more to not only have conversations about it, but actually seek the help that they need, right?
And I'm not even suggesting some of them get too far, like they get big and they get too far in, and then it becomes like a regular TV show with commercials. Like, this is where you find out about the real stuff. Podcasts, not the podcasts, I'm not going to name names, that are,
Right.
they kind of tend to be this big heart wonderful thing, and then it changes into, well, you didn't talk about this dildo, and they're represent our company, so you have to talk about that, and you didn't talk about so it's just, that's why I like doing these.
Oh, oh, good. And I really appreciate it. Really appreciate your time and
And I
everything.
appreciate you doing this for all women. I mean, it's a lot. It takes a lot.
Yes, it really does. But yes, that has become my mission now. Because getting healthy for me became like such a huge thing. Once I had my child, because my body just was like freaking out. Like everything happened. I was like, why is this happening? Like I had to have surgery last year, right? To get my stone sticking out. It's called gallstones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that came as a result of when your doctor told me, oh, that's because you were pregnant, and then your muscle and your body relaxed, and so then these things start to form, and I'm like, what? So no, when I started to eat the things that I like now, like I had extreme pain and everything. Oh, that was a whole thing. That was a whole thing. But it made me kind of like, okay, well, now I have to watch what I eat, and
But it's good. It keeps your mind healthy, keeps everything healthy then.
yeah, I know I have to take, like really pay attention now, because when you're young, I don't know about you, but I ain't going to the checkup. I gotta do No, I'm not doing that, right? Why? Like, why do I have
There
to?
were no women gynecologists.
I was like,
I remember that there was no women gynecologists.
really?
What I remember when I was younger, I mean, I'm old, but I mean, I'm sure there were, but we're talking when we were young, like 40 years ago. How many women gynecologists were there?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There were men, a lot of men when I was younger.
I remember, do you remember the first time going to a gynecologist?
Yes, and it was a man. Yeah. And it was the most awkward. It was the most awkward thing. And he wasn't young either, right? He was like an older dude.
I remember him actually saying, I was so nervous I couldn't stop laughing. What's so funny? I was like, oh, he doesn't even have a fucking personality, like no personality.
Right. Well, that too.
I was so young.
And it's like they're not mindful. They felt like this is your first time. This is my first ever exam of any kind.
And every woman remembers that. Actually, that's a good book. Your first visit to the gynecologist. I've been in like seminars, not seminars. It's like speaking areas and that's come up. And whoa, I mean, some people get affected more than others. I mean, I was that I remembered it.
Yeah,
So how many things do you remember? I don't even know what age you start going to the gynecologist.
yeah. I think I was about, I want to say 18 maybe. Because they're telling you, you gotta get your pap smear and all this kind of stuff, right? So I think that was around the time that I started going, and I think they encourage you to do it at least once a year and that kind of thing. So I just remember either he was trying to like crack a lot of corny jokes, or I was cracking the corny jokes. I can't remember who was cracking the corny jokes, but some jokes were being cracked just so that we both felt comfortable in that situation.
Right. Thinking about there should be a place where young women go to the first gynecological visit.
And it's a woman, like you said, and so that they feel comfortable. Even though I know there's some women who prefer men for whatever reason.
Great, but that's not the point here. The point is, it's easier for women to go to women, especially with something so intimate at that age. They can be surgeons, they can be everything, for women's health, but your basic gynecology, I don't know. That's how I feel.
Yes, that's true. That's true. And I know they're professional and everything and they know what they're doing, but like you say, that comfort level, especially this is the first, I guess, guy who's seen down there.
Right.
There, like, yeah, there's
It's your first. You're so naive at that point.
yeah. I was even saying waxing was too intimate, even though it's done by a woman, right? So I guess it may, at that point, it don't even matter gender. It just matters that somebody's down there. But then, yeah, like increasing that comfortability would be really good. I never thought about that, but yeah, that's a good point. Now I know you did some marketing. I think I saw that on your LinkedIn, right? So, with your extensive experience in marketing and innovative wellness services, right? What strategies have you found most effective in reaching and engaging your target audience? Because I got to get some marketing in there.
Sure. Are you talking when it comes to women's intimate health, the type of marketing that works for that?
Yes, yes.
It's different. It's a different world, women's intimate health, and how we do it now is completely different than before. When I first started, I had a video that I started with saying, the whole thing about going to your doctor, you're embarrassed to say anything, and then they blow you off, and I can't orgasm, I can't have sex. And I did a big, whole, soft video about it. You're not alone. All women go through that. And I think at that time, the market was so soft, nobody understood it. So people were quietly listening to these, we're talking 7 years.
Yes.
And I couldn't really advertise, sorry about that, on the internet or things like that, or write it on the website, because there's people that traffic that. If you say sex, if you say boobs, and you're women's health site, it's completely different. You could say Viagra, but you can't say you talk about it in OSHA for an orgasm.
Right,
So
right.
the rules are all over the place, and so am I right now, because I don't remember the question.
Oh no. I mean, it's about one who typically seeks your services, and
Oh,
then yeah, how do you tailor your message to resonate with
so,
them?
so
Is
the
the
other
second
way
one.
right now that's finally getting out is through TikTok, things like that, and I do, which I want to do, but I didn't. So thank you for doing it, more of a podcast to talk to people. But that's really it. And then some TV is starting to come around, but it's very difficult. I do a lot of different charity events, and I have complimentary consultations with women. We speak at women events. It's not simple.
It really isn't. And you gotta be so pervasive with the messaging, right? Because yes, there's the podcast, but then I'm also, gonna put these in clips because somebody might not sit down and watch the whole thing, right? So then now we got to extract the information that we think, the women want to know, and then so we post these in clips, like you say, TikTok, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and then we can switch it up. We can put the messaging on text, right? So we got video, right? But then with captions, because I mean social media is so pervasive now. So you got the videos with the captions because they might not listen, but they might watch the captions, right? And then now we're gonna do some text graphics, right? And then we can do some blogs, and then we can do some emails to them, right? And then we can do some pointed ads, right?
Right.
That kind of thing. So we doing, because I'm in marketing, so we doing all kind of things to make sure that we get the message across, so they can't ever say, "I didn't know that." Right? That's the point of marketing, right?
But you have to be careful how you say it, or they'll take you down.
Yes, that is true.
So why other sites can have low cut tops, things like that, and mine can't, is really And it was like, I'm like, what did we do there? Somebody was wearing a blouse. It was really, it's getting better, but it was off. So, here you're talking about something nobody wants to talk about, which is, women's intimate health, and women are afraid to talk about it. Then they don't want to broadcast it, but it's changing. It's slowly changing now.
Yes.
As you know, marketing is very important.
Yes, yes, it is. And I do hope too that women are doing the research on their end, like women, like, yeah. And I find that I did that as well. Cause like anytime you get like a little cold or like something wrong with your body, the first thing you do is Google and they tell you that you have cancer. But hopefully, right? Hopefully, right? Hopefully, when they do they Google stuff like vaginal dryness and that kind of thing, meet this conversation between you and me come up, or even just you, just kind of speaking to that and like, okay, did it? Ooh, okay, to do this, that kind of thing. That
Just knowing you're not alone is helpful. Bringing it to people's attention right now that are sitting there and saying, okay, I'm going to give you how bad it is. I was, years ago, even before I had my twins, I used to have urinary leakage. Not worse, right afterwards. But right afterwards, I remember at a party and just peed on myself in the summer. And I literally took a drink and poured it on my lap so nobody could tell. Yeah, it just happens
oh,
sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. So it's that bad. It was that. So it affects you.
to think about how that affects you as a human, as a woman, mentally as well, and just like trying to get over like these, I guess, almost like these little bouts of trauma. I know trauma is like a buzzword now, right? But like, yeah, it's we got it, and we got to deal with it, right? Now, what do you envision as the future of women's health and wellness, like particularly in the areas where there has historically been neglect or oversight? Like, what do you envision for women's health and wellness?
People like yourselves are starting to talk about it. So that's making it easier. It's very expensive to get in this field of like my specific field. I believe that within the next 3 to 5 years, this will be 5 years, it will be much more national to go in and get these treatments and talked about. But I definitely think it's going to take time. It's going to take time to build the
Right.
base. Like we want to put in like little VSpots in gynecological offices, but it's a lot to do to start to get that out there. And also the equipment is so expensive that it's kind of, do we do this? Do we not do this?
Yeah. Does it make financial sense as a business?
Dermatology is a big business, a big lucrative business. But when we first came into it, when I was younger, it was just to see if I had cancer.
Right.
So I feel like it's the same here. It's going to be a whole huge industry of women's health in a positive way.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I think that I agree with that. Um, like it becomes more natural for us to talk about these things, and then yeah, the I guess your local OBGYN now offers this additional service that looks at vaginal health and improving that, so that yeah, when I go back after having given birth and for my 6 week checkup, she says, or he says, okay, well, now that that's happened, we're going to go through this these sessions of getting your vaginal health back to, how it was before birth, or just as your body is changing.
No, it's absolutely. So there's a lot of things.
So, reflecting on your career, because I know we're running up on time now, what has been the most satisfying aspect of your work in women's health, and what achievements are you most proud of?
I have to say, it's not one thing, but in the beginning, I remember how, I mean, there's only a few people come in that basically said, you changed my life. I mean, I'm not saying me, the treatments.
Yes.
And I felt it for myself, the confidence that I had. Listen, not having to be able to have like sex, I kept thinking I was like one of those women that I had my kids, I'm fine now. I'm tired. That's why I don't want it. Da da da. But really, if you don't have a full spectrum of, a love life, and not that I have it right now, but anyway, the whole spectrum of life,
Right.
you really need to look at every aspect of it. So
Well, okay. So it is rewarding for you then to see that you're changing the lives of women.
it's like I feel like I'm almost a doctor. No, you're changing their. It really, there's so many different parts to it, mentally and
Mm,
physically. It really just makes you feel good. It really does.
okay.
And in power, in control. There's so many different things.
So, is there anything you want to leave with the women? Any advice you want to give? I mean, I didn't get a chance to kind of talk about, I guess, how you balance, business with being a mom and that kind of thing. But is there any, I guess, I want to say, health and wellness advice that you would give to women who's watching this, listening to this, um, from your personal experience, right?
So first of all, everybody first thinks that they're the only ones that are going through this embarrassing, horrific situation. And you're not. And there are places where you can Google and try to find out solutions. But before you go for like just a solution, you should go for multiple interviews with people and talk to them about the different options that are available for women.
Yeah.
They're slowly coming out there, or they can just email us and we'll answer all the questions. I mean, there's enough people out there that we have no problem. Go to VSpot and, email a question and we can't come in and I'm not in that area. Somebody who does it or so on and so forth. And we can look it up for you.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Cindy. I agree with you. Let's do our research. Don't think anything that you're going through, ladies, is too small that you can talk about it or do some research about it. Get on Google, ignore the ones that tell you that you have cancer, and look and see, who offers, yeah,
There are.
who offers solutions or who may offer solutions.
So my thing is stop suffering in silence. That's the whole thing. Stop suffering and
Suffering in silence. That is a good note to end on. Thank you so much, Cindy. This has been such a great conversation. We're gonna have to do this again. We're gonna have to come
let me
back.
know when you're in the city, my love. I'd love to.
It's true. Yes, that sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Thank you so much.